Well, there's a mix level, actually, the record trim.
Record trim?
Yeah. So these are all equal. They're all completely equal.
Yeah.
Perfect balance.
So you could just have everybody talk and just go completely by the meters, too. You can just go.
So number 4 is louder.
Are you recording this? Because this is
check.
This is the best sounding podcast episode with Howard on it. We're killing it.
Say something.
Check.
Welcome to Uber Unplugged, Uber Entertainment's bestest and finest podcast. It's also the official podcast of Uber Entertainment.
This will be the bestest sounding podcast episode.
Yes.
Because
I mixed it myself. I mean, I'm just so good.
And after you mixed it...
I heard you took a class in audio.
Yes.
In mixology.
Yes, in mixology, a very established university somewhere in Indiana. And it was, it was a good experience. I learned a lot. Did you know I also made all the theme music for Planetary Annihilation?
I did know that.
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
it was tough. I'll admit it. I had a little bit of help from this Howard guy, our composer. Let's actually get to it real quick. So I'm joined, of course, by art director Eka. How you doing, man?
Hello.
Also, software engineer, keyboard tickler, Forrest Smith. How you doing?
Good. Hello, everyone.
And a very special guest, Uber Entertainment's composer,
Woohoo! Hey, guys.
Howard. How you doing, man?
It's a very special
Doing well.
episode of Blossom with Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're kind of busy, by the way.
It's pretty crazy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of details for this orchestra thing coming up in a couple days.
Yeah, so Howard's going to be with us for about 20-ish minutes. He'll fade into the background at some point while we talk about farts or whatever. But I wanted to hit him up just wanted to get a brief window with Howard here because you're doing the orchestra thing. It's kind of a big deal. One of our Kickstarter promises, I think we hit the goal. You described it to me as a surreal experience, and now you're doing it.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We're doing a little over an hour's worth of music with 80 plus people on stage. We'll have them separated in different groups at different times. We'll do just strings by themselves or just percussion or whatever. But at the end, we're going to do a thing with everybody all together. Choir. It's quite an event. 4 days of recording.
4 days. So what do you have to do to prep for this? Because I mean, I've noticed you doing things, and it seems extreme. It seems crazy. You're working all the time.
Howard's been at the office more than he's not been at the office for the past month.
I think that's fair.
That
You
could
won't
be
even
fair.
make time to go to lunch with us.
That's true.
Howard has
sad,
a
but
secret
true.
bed on the other side of his desk.
That is also true. This is not a joke, folks.
That I'll nap in the afternoon. I don't sleep there at night. But.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
He still goes home for a few hours at least, so it's okay.
Yes.
So okay. All right. Tell me what's going on at least right now. Like, what are you doing? Like, what?
Well, right now, so we're past several weeks ago. We're past the point where I was writing any more music. I had to like physically cut myself off, and there's other pieces I had written that I was like, you know what? It'd be better for me to spend my time on details rather than writing more music because I was just so inspired. I had like 8 more tunes. I was like, I could do these really quickly, but we'll do them another time.
What was the burst of inspiration?
I think just everything coming together.
Yeah, seeing the game?
Yeah, seeing it.
Beta?
Completely with beta. Like with beta, with like getting some of the stuff in there last minute. It was so inspiring just to go, oh my goodness, I need to write something for this. I need to write something for whatever.
So Howard and I have worked on many trailers over 2 different companies now. Or it's either Howard and I or Howard and Steve or 3 of us working on trailers together.
Yeah.
So when you did the Kickstarter trailer, how did you come up with that was like the first thing that kind of kicked off the inspiration. I mean, that kicked off the sort of the sound for the game.
Sure. That actually took the longest of any tune that we wrote because it was kind of establishing the tone of the game.
Right. That's the first thing people will hear, right?
Right. So yeah, that took the most time to kind of nail down and get the right amount of different elements. We wanted it to be, slightly angular for the robotic element, but have this humanness to it that kind of gives you some emotion in the game. And we wanted it to be musically not. We wanted it to be fluid and going places all the time, and not necessarily the same thing. And we didn't want it to be repetitive. So it was lots of stuff to kind of lay that ground in that first piece. So it took a lot of time going back and forth. Me, you, and Steve just back and forth on different things.
And I was noticed when I come into your office, you have like a separate computer that has just nothing but images scrolling by. It's all this inspiration stuff that you
Sure.
look at once in a while, right?
Yeah, I love having the images of the game up there. Or before we actually had concept stuff, I'd get whatever concept art we had, and then anything that I thought would be similar, and just have this slideshow going in the background. And progressively, that slideshow turned into the actual game, and having the game in the background. And then, as we got further along, just not always having the game in the background while I'm writing things, and forcing the game to do certain actions while I'm playing the music and everything. It was pretty helpful.
It's pretty crazy to see you write this much amount of music.
It's a lot of music. It's a lot. It's over an hour of recording, but then that's going to be broken in. A lot of it's done in a way that I can take those pieces and make other pieces from them, or only use certain sections, or loop things, and it's going to be. I don't even know how many. I haven't even counted how many minutes of music it'll actually be.
What's the most music you've done for a single game?
I don't know. Maybe Demigod, and I don't have an actual count for that because there was kind of a dynamic music system. So I think the CD was about a little under an hour, but there was a dynamic music system, so there was much more music than that.
He's used to working on at least 4 projects at once. I don't know. Like, this is only 2, so
It's only 2.
I think probably need 3 more projects.
But I am wearing a lot of hats, though, with the orchestra and all that. So.
That's true. So what does it mean to take music that you composed
Yeah.
to make it ready for an orchestra, for to be played with all these real instruments and real
man.
people?
So
What is that
many-
process?
So many details. So thankfully, I'm working with an orchestrator, and what he does is he takes the music that I have, and I'll export it in certain formats for him to import into. We're using Finale for our notation software, but it's a tough process because, like, you think of it like a book editor. You give a book editor your handwritten notes about everything. And he's going to go, okay, wait a minute, what did you mean on this, or what did you mean on that? Because the translation from digital to paper and then to orchestra. There's 3 different steps there, and to make sure that my vision is translated to the paper, which will be translated to the orchestra. There's a lot of details in there, especially on some of the more that's called like aleatoric stuff, where there's stuff that's more left up to chance. You have to figure out ways to minimize those things, like a string player doing like a crazy random run, but you want all of them to do crazy random runs at the same time. Well, you have to give them restrictions for them to do these things at this moment of chaos.
I don't know what you're talking
Is
about.
that like a guitar solo?
No.
A violin solo?
She just stands up and goes nuts. Feeling it.
There'll be, with this music, since there's so many points of dynamics. There's points of just utter chaos in the music, and it's hard to write music that you want multiple people, like a whole violin section, doing multiple things that are different. So that type of thing, you just cannot do that with digital software. It's more singular. It's like, hey, this is what you have, and this is the chaos. But that's not what it will be with the orchestra. We'll give them like these points and say, hey, I want you to do this and this, but I want you to do this differently than how they're doing it. And that chaos from all these different people interpreting what I'm telling them to do, that's what makes magic.
Howard went to the next level with me the other day when we first started talking about the orchestra, and I really find this interesting. I had a hard time placing it in our blog post, but you said something I think was like absolutely profound, is that music is the only thing that you physically interact with a game.
Sure.
Right? You want to talk about that concept a little bit, because I think people.
Well, it's the only thing that actually has a measurable. Like a measurable movement on your body, or
right.
It's easier to recognize that. There's other things that interact with your body, but if you turn something up loud, it can actually physically move you.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe someday we'll have like rumble chairs and all that kind of stuff. Still kind of kind of soundish, but
Right.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, it actually does something to you physically. I mean,
Right.
like put you in a bad mood, or or relax you, or whatever.
And that's why you take the music part so seriously, because you can make somebody feel a certain way, and those waves are interacting with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Completely. It still baffles me actually when I'll listen to something and just totally get like in whatever mood that person was trying to like Kanye West album or something like and that one. It's just brutal.
Yeah.
It's like an attack on your body.
Yeah.
And that's what he intended.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretpretty aming that.
Or the
can
Eminem
happen.
track we listened to last night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like just in your face nonstop.
Nonstop. Yeah. And there's points in the music too where I'd have to find where that line is where, okay, I can't go that far because that's, even though it'd be an intense battle, if for some reason this isn't as intense of a battle as you need it to be, then it's wrong.
Right.
So you have to find that balance of where you can be so it doesn't get so intense that if the context changes, since our context can rapidly change, zooming out of a huge battle. Now your
Right.
context is completely different. If you're hearing something that's really, really aggressive in that moment, then it's the wrong context.
Yeah.
So finding that line of when you can push and pull on those emotions was really, really tough.
Do you wish you always had a designer right next to you? So you can be like, hey, man, whenever
No.
you zoom in.
No.
Music's one of those things where it can recall a specific point in time or memory based on a song,
Yeah.
and that like things you, at least for me, things I've forgotten about. But I'll hear a song on the radio, I'm like, oh, brings me back right to a specific point in time.
Sure.
It's pretty powerful that
Sure.
way.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other kind of media that does that to me. Like even as an artist, like
Yeah, I have a tough time with like music that's placed in movies sometimes because they'll play something that's I relate to something else.
right, because you remember that piece when you first heard it.
Right, and then but now it's in context to that scene, and inversely that sometimes it's awesome because it does do that and it brings you back to when you were in 9th grade or whatever.
Yeah.
When it matches the movie, it's
Yeah.
awesome. But when they're playing some, pop music song that you associate with something completely different,
Right.
then it rips you out.
Or to my kids, they only know songs based on Rock Band.
Right.
They're like, oh, that's that Rock Band sound. It's like, no, this is a Beatles song. This is
Right.
before Rock Band, but okay.
Guitar Hero ruined Danzig. You heard it here first. I love it. I love it. Well, Howard, I know you got a really busy day, man. So if you want to skedaddle, that's cool.
All right.
If you want to do your thing.
Cool. Well,
Thank you for joining
Have
us
fun.
today, man.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it, and good luck at the orchestra. And we'll have video of that and stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, it's gonna
It'll be
be fun.
exciting.
Yeah,
It's a great location.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, we'll definitely have to show some video and all that.
Sweet, dude.
Sweet.
Well, thanks again.
Thanks, Howard.
Thanks.
Howard, I love that guy. How about him?
He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, that Howard.
Howard is an amazing dude to work with, especially for trailers. Just
Yeah, he knows his
fantastic.
stuff.
Oh, it's good stuff.
I know. We just need to remind him to eat. That's his problem.
I fed him last night.
You fed him?
I
Good.
did.
All right.
Well, Howard will put something in the microwave for his lunch, and
Yeah.
then at about 6:37 p.m., he'll say, "Shit, I forgot to eat," and his food is still in the microwave from 5 hours earlier.
He uses our little conference room microwave, so he can get away with that, I think.
He did it when it was the share.
Oh, yeah.
Someone would open the microwave and be like, "There's food in here. Anyone know who this is?"
I used to do that a lot too.
Well, there you go. So I guess now we can talk about farts and stuff if you guys want. We don't have to talk about serious stuff. But no, PA's come along well. Obviously, the orchestra stuff is a big deal, and expect more updates for PA in the near future. Let's talk about Toy Rush real quick. Eka, you've been doing a lot of stuff. Release candidate.
Yes. Where do I start? Yeah. No, we've
For
been
a
along.
soft launch, release candidate.
For soft launch. So yeah, there's so many things outside of what people think of as a game that we have to do. There's a bunch of other sort of middleware that we use. There's things that the game needs to talk to. There's networks. There's all these Facebook integration and a bunch of other things that take up a lot of time.
Yeah, ton of hook-ins.
Ton of hook-ins and achievements and things like that make sure it works. So we've been going back and forth and just trying to get everything in and getting all ready. Oh, I'm working on icons.
Yes, which is also a pivotal thing
Yeah,
for apps.
for mobile apps.
And you know what? I guess maybe the people at home might not know this, but I mean, it is absolutely crucial that you knock the icon out of the park That is a thing that can actually sink or swim you in the App Store.
It's the first thing people see, and if it's not good, it's the last thing they'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And things like screenshots too; those are just absolutely pivotal.
Screenshots,
Pivotal.
descriptions.
Yes,
Splash, all that stuff. Yeah.
You
So,
have to knock this stuff out of the park.
yeah, and we continue to polish the tutorial, which I need to take another pass at today or tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know what day it is.
Who knows?
Yeah, so a lot of polish and just getting ready for a soft launch.
Ton of work. It's fun to see those guys in the corner just bouncing ideas. This kind of reminds me of, I guess, in a smaller way because there's it's a smaller team working on this game, but seeing everyone come together for the Planet Smash part of beta is that you guys are just totally just grinding it out, getting that game ready to go.
It's cool to have. It's like a final push to the final countdown before a launch. So it's good to have everyone kind of hones in on one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's Toy Rush and Planetary. Let's talk about the games we've been playing. So today I just booted it up, 10 minutes in, maybe a little bit more. I played Space Engineer.
Is that what it's called?
I think. Space Engineer, I'll call it that for right now
Okay.
until Forrest fact checks me, which is good. I like.
So I was
I
going to
like
go
that
off on
for
that
it.
name a little bit, but okay.
Okay.
Before I do that.
We'll wait and see. But so this is kind of like I guess it's vaguely like Kerbal. I haven't played a lot of Kerbal Space Program.
I would say it's what I saw you play.
Yeah.
It's Minecraft on a spaceship.
Minecraft on a spaceship, except Minecraft you make the Minecraft except you make the spaceship, right?
Well, in this one, you play a tutorial, I think, right?
No,
So-
that was just a world.
Okay,
that
so the
was-
world was a spaceship,
Kinda. Okay.
and you had a 3D avatar, and you
Yeah.
had a block tool to build stuff onto it.
right.
So I guess it's a smaller scale building game.
Yeah. It looked like it. I don't know how far it opens up. Again, it's another one of those things where early access, there was no real tutorial outside of like a YouTube video that looked a little too long for what I wanted to do at the moment. So I was just kind of like, well, I'll just jump. How hard can making spaceships be? And oh boy, was I right on the name?
It is not Space Engineer.
Oh, no!
It is Space Engineers.
Oh,
Plural.
Oh, multiple engineers. So that's interesting. If
I thought you were controlling just one engineer. Did you have
Yeah.
multiple engineers?
No, I just had one.
That's-
Maybe you get more later.
Yeah.
So that's on the nose, like a space engineer. So that's what you were.
Yeah.
You were engineering in space,
Certainly, and I had a jetpack.
but it's not really an interesting name.
It's
unfortunately.
not an interesting name, but
Yeah.
it does get the point across, which I think there's some value in that. You open up Space Engineer, I think you know what you're about ready to get into.
I worked on a game called Space Siege, which makes
Okay.
about as much sense as nothing.
Space siege is an action-y type word, though.
Are you sieging space? Is space under
You're
siege?
sieging in space.
You're sieging things in space.
Technically, we're on Earth in space too. So
So
okay,
we
maybe
could
not.
be technically sieging space right now.
Space engineer for me. Okay, if I was naming it,
Yeah.
just saying it's not a very active.
What would you put it, like Space Tool Man?
So do you want it to be more of a verb, like what
Yes,
you're doing?
Yeah. Okay.
Orbital Doer?
Yeah, like Minecraft or anything craft sounds like there's a bigger alchemy to it, right?
Spacecraft, done.
Yes.
Camel case it, so capital C, that way. Perfect.
Spacecrafters.
Nice.
You're crafting a spacecraft in space.
Absolutely. So here's the cool thing about it. So you get these blocks and these different components, like gravity generators, I guess is what you call it, as
You
well.
have, you have a toolbox of things.
Yeah,
right?
toolbox. And if you hit G, which actually it just expands this ungodly huge inventory of things you can use to build this spaceship. Half the words I understood. And but anyway, you can actually make a spaceship and then fly it, which I think is what's incredible. Is just, you made this thing and now you can go, because unlike Minecraft, like you make a house, it's it, really. There's no interaction with it in any meaningful way, I don't believe.
I mean,
Well, they added more over
There's a
time
lot
in
more
Minecraft.
stuff in
They
motion.
added the questing, and there's a boss fight eventually.
Yeah, I saw that.
but we weren't
Right.
sure when I was watching Brad play at lunch,
Yeah.
and we're like, well, okay, so you added all these thrusters all over the fucking place.
It's good thruster.
Well, so I came back from lunch, and there's like 5 people around Brad's desk. I'm like, what's going on? Like, playing this game. I'm
Space
like, what?
engineers.
Engineers.
I say, what is it? Like, well, we don't know yet. Like, I'm trying to find the game. And so I'm like, okay, I sit down on my desk. Then about 3-4 minutes later, all 5 people in unison go, whoa!
Right.
As
So-
the thrusters were turned on
So
and the ship started
Brad's
flying.
avatar in the game was a space engineer.
Yes.
In a red suit, in third person, you fly around along this big cruiser,
Yeah.
putting down blocks or different thrusters all over
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah, because I'm
And
an
then,
idiot.
and you went inside this space cruiser and put down a control panel?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I just opened her up, and then all of a sudden it cuts to kind of like a rogue squadron, kind of like real tight behind the back of the spaceship shot, and you can just fly it away with the thrusters that you put on.
There's a scene in Starship Troopers where what's-her-face takes the helm and takes the ship off out of dock.
Oh man, it's been so long. I don't
and
recall.
It kind of reminded me of that because you were attached to this dock and you got this massive ship with thrusters going all over the place. And the first thing, what do we want to do? We want to go smash this asteroid.
Smash it into an asteroid.
Crash into something, man.
Quickly, see what happens.
But unfortunately, maybe it's my engineering wasn't that good. Which I took Physics 101 in college, guys. I mean, I feel like I got this space travel thing down, okay? But it was really slow and awkward because maybe I put like too many thrusters on one side of the ship and not the other. I should probably... So I tried to build another one, by the way. I went back. I was like, I'm going to build a smaller one that can go real fast. So I'm building on the side of the other spaceship. I'm just like, I'll just leap the other spaceship and take off. So I put 2 massive thrusters on the back of this really tiny thing.
Okay.
And it was so stupid. Then I put a nuclear reactor inside the hull. And I was like, this is going to be horrible or funny or a combination of the both. And I couldn't get it to take off. I don't know. That's kind of like my early access kind of just problem just in general. It's just like, how do I play this video game? Because I would love to. I get it. I want to play it. But how do I, you know?
So it looked cool.
Yeah, it looked great. It looked great. I will definitely keep playing that video game. I'll watch the tutorial. I'll sit down tonight and figure out how to play this video game. I'll shock you all tomorrow. I'll just come in and make like a Boba Fett ship and be like, check this out.
I expected Death Star tomorrow.
Death Star.
Yes.
Oh man, I bet you could probably do that.
Yeah, you should make a Star Destroyer crash into a Death Star one. It'd be sweet.
I'm sorry. I'm just imagining.
Stunned silence at the awe.
Yeah, I mean, what if you could make a Death Star? Man.
You're going to have to go home tonight, find out, let us know.
I'll sit down with my Physics 101 book and figure it out.
How to build a Death Star.
How to
Step
make
1.
spheres fly. Yeah, no, I mean, Space Engineer, I think if you're looking for a sim just in general, I think this is definitely one to grab. So let's talk about this. Castle in the Sky. Castles, excuse me. And Eka, you accused Forrest of not having a soul about this, so I gotta hear this conversation. Right. I'm buckling up.
So I read an article on Rock Paper Shotgun by Kara Ellison. I want to say. I'm sorry if I got your last name wrong. She's talking about Castles in the Sky. The article was basically about all the pitches and games that get sent to her, and she's been in game journalism for a while, so a lot of the stuff she kind of just glosses over, and then so she read the description, started playing the game. The game, it's less of a game than an animated story, bedtime story.
Yeah.
You're this little kid, starts. Does it start in a cloud or on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interactive bedtime story.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're this little kid in the clouds, and the gameplay would be closest to Doodle Jump. You're jumping up these clouds. But the point of the game isn't Doodle Jump's a challenge. Can you see how far you can get? And it's not challenging in the same kind of sense. You're going up and the story continues to be told.
Okay.
The charm of it is, the whole time the kid, it's the pixelated art, the kid has wind blowing on him, so he's got like his hair in the wind, a couple of pixel in the breeze, and if you hold down a mouse button, or I play with arrows actually, arrow keys, he jumps. Okay. And when he jumps, you can move him around, only in the air. Mm-hmm. That's all. That's the whole game.
Okay.
So you just keep jumping, and along the way, there's just sort of a story that happens with text on top of it. So.
It's maybe 10 minutes long, 15 at the long. I think they're selling on the website for $1.50.
Mm.
So what I really liked about it is,
sounds like it has a cool tone.
The music, the innocence of it, and sort of the idea of like, it kind of brought me back to my childhood, which I was telling the guys who made it, I was like, it's sort of the feeling you get when you have kids, when you have young kids, because it, like before you have, at least for me, before I had kids, I was like into different things, right? Like, and I was kind of selfish about my world and my stuff, and when you have kids, you're like, holy shit, I have these little things I have to take care of, and that becomes your focus initially, right? And you also start to think of things in less seriously. kind of think, stuff goes wrong, and you kind of have to work through it because these are kids. I mean, you don't like return them, right? I guess. Well, I don't at least, but it's like you got to figure out how to deal with it and move on, and and you think, I'm influencing these kids' livelihood and how they grow up. So yeah, so you kind of think about like what it's like to be a kid again. So this game, which I know sounds stupid for probably both of you guys, but
no. I like how a game got to you this profoundly.
It got
That's
to
really
me
cool.
and made me think about like I love that the guys that did, they're like 19 and 21, like,
Oh wow.
and they kind of tapped into this innocence, which I was like, holy crap, that's amazing as a game maker to do that. So
That's cool. And you hate it because
no, he doesn't hate it.
I didn't hate it. It did not hit. I don't have kids, so
it
it
didn't
did
hit
not.
that chord?
It didn't hit. It didn't resonate with me that way.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I want to say one more thing. The other thing that I really, really appreciate, which is super, super hard to do, is as an artist or as a game maker, is make something that simple come across well.
right.
Which is like something that Journey really did well for me. Like a sort of a experience that's not mechanical based gameplay experience. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the experience of it is as you're going up, the background and scenery's change. You kind of, go through the clouds and up towards space, and it's, it's a children's book in that if you imagine a children's book, have all these, pictures and just, like a couple of sentences, per page, and there's kind of a cadence to the storytelling.
Okay.
And so as you're rising through the clouds, every step you get just another little bit of the story, and you get, it's a bedtime story. And it definitely makes me think there's a lot of interesting things you could do with that. I know there's a lot of story books on tablets and iPad, but you could do some really cool stuff with these interactive bedtime story type things.
Yeah, and I think it would make a great iPad. Like I could see myself giving that game to my kids on the iPad.
Yeah,
Like,
it'd be great for it.
So there's no really fail condition. Like you can miss these little pickups things, but they're strictly for tone and sound to go along with the music. It doesn't.
Yeah. So I had the issue. So as you're jumping, there's these little coins you can pick up. You don't have to.
Yeah. But you were compelled to pick them up.
As a gamer, I have to.
Oh,
So there's this story that, it's pretty interesting. You want to flip through the pages and read the story, and it has this flow and rhythm to it. And I kept interrupting that flow and rhythm because I needed to go back and get all the coins.
I did the same fucking thing in Alan Wake. Like Alan Wake would be telling me this horrible dark story, and then I'd be like, "Oh shit, there's a coffee thermos over there. I gotta go get that."
But that's okay. I didn't like the coffee thermos thing.
That was dumb.
I felt like they had to add that for collectability, replayability for gamers,
Buzzword stuff.
which
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Okay, I was just reinforcing your point. That stuff really does
Yeah,
suck
like
me
it
out.
conflicted with itself a little bit.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed it more if I would have just ignored the coins and just jumped up and enjoyed the scenery and the music and the story, the words.
Yeah.
Oh, and the words were written pretty well. Like it was
Yeah, it's a well told story.
well timed and compelling, and it's interesting.
Castles in the Sky.
Castles in the Sky.
Get it now on PC?
Yeah, for $1.50.
It's hard to find. How do you find this? Because if you do a Google search for
You don't find
Castles
it,
in the
yeah.
Sky, you do not find this video game.
Oh, is it not on Steam yet either? Is it on Greenlight or anything?
They're just
No.
selling it direct. So the devs, they're also doing a game called 10 Second Ninja, I believe.
Yes. Nice.
Which I found that a while back, and it's like, oh, this looks amazing. And then when I
Yeah.
saw these guys did the same thing, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it might be better to find 10 Second Ninja to find their website and then look for
Right.
the Castles in the Sky page.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now. Oh, guys.
Yeah. Don't.
So I ended up paying $15 for it
Wow.
because I like
money
Dan.
back.
It's one of those
the developers.
humble bundle widgets
Yeah.
where
Oh, cool.
here's the price, but you can pay what you want.
So we just got done talking about early access games again, and I think this is a fun thing to continue talking about. While Eka looks up Castles in the Sky, or at least how to obtain it. You got it? You got it?
Yep.
How do you buy this video game?
The talltreesgames.co.uk.
Oh man, those guys gotta get a real website.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, that might be a little too much, but that's awesome though. So-
Castles in the Sky, the Tall Tree Games.
Okay, yeah, that would be perfect.
Google that and you'll find it.
Yeah.
Google foo. So on the subject of early access, a lot of our friends and family have been playing Toy Rush as Uber Entertainment continues to make that game. And it's an iterative process, and it's kind of funny how that hits people different ways. And you had a cool story about that, right, Forrest?
So Toy Rush, we've been, it's been in development,
Yeah.
and we Combs and Echo put out a patch for it twice a week, sometimes even 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And it's usually just bug fixes, but as developers, we kind of know that as you play, things are going to be reset. Especially,
Right.
there's a lot of work that goes into profiles in your progress, and sometimes you can update, but sometimes you change it and you have to reset.
Yeah.
And so my girlfriend Liz has been playing Toy Rush, and she's really enjoying it and going through these single-player missions. And she got really far, and she was building up her base. And I told her, there's a new patch tonight. And she got excited. I said, however, it's going to reset your base.
Oh,
and
no.
she just goes, no! And she didn't want to, she wanted to get just a little bit further on the current patch, and then she reset her base.
Oh, wow.
She knows that it's in development. She knows how this stuff works, but
Yeah.
that's the type of stuff you have to deal with when you're working on a game that's still in development.
Right.
Yeah, and I felt really bad because she was really into it.
Yeah, she's been really liking it.
And Forrest has been emailing us notes based on her playthrough,
Yep.
which are great. Like just to get sort of unfiltered experience from other players. For us as developers, is huge. We can see, well, that shouldn't happen, or
Right.
that sounds dumb. We should fix that.
Yeah, things that it's where you find this player expected something to happen, and we knew it wasn't going to be that because that's how it's always been.
Right.
But it's not what they thought it would be.
Yeah, they're not inside, Uber Entertainment, constantly hearing the conversations and understanding.
It's
you know,
easy
exactly
to get
where we're
tunnel
going.
vision.
No,
for a
especially,
developer.
I mean, that's actually really good. Like, that's the reason we do. Like, I filmed a couple of my kids and some of their friends playing to Toy Rush, and just see how bad they messed up on the tutorial. And it was it was humbling just to see, okay, that's what they expect to happen. They click on this looks like a button, or this doesn't look like a button. So that's kind of the user experience stuff that we have to give it to somebody unfiltered and see what they do with it, because you get used to working through the bugs or ignoring the bugs when you work on it on a daily basis. Yeah.
The feedback you get the first time someone has ever seen or played your game is amazing, because you have all these buttons and menus and flows, and just it can be like really clunky, but eventually you as a developer and even everyone else in the office, they know what you have to do.
You learn how to navigate
and then you present it to someone who's never seen. And the hardest thing is to step back and not try and help them.
Right.
Because they'll be kind of fumbling and you're trying to figure it out, and you want to step in, and you need to just like suffer through their frustration.
Yeah.
Because you have to fix it, because that's what's going to happen in the wild.
Yeah, we can't help all the people out in the wild who download our
We
games.
can, one by one.
That's our promise.
Yes.
Oh, no,
Door to door. Skype to Skype.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, our time's actually running a little short this week.
Oh, wow.
This is fun. So let's get to one newsy subject.
Before that, I want to talk about Far Cry 2 briefly.
The greatest game ever? Okay,
Yes.
so let's end on Far Cry
Wow.
2. Let's. You know what? I'm completely comfortable with this conversation ending our podcast.
This is all new to me.
Far
Okay.
Cry 2 is the greatest game ever made.
Okay, so
period.
So Brad came up to me yesterday, and he pitched. He's like, "Eka, I got this great game idea."
Yeah.
I think you said was, let's take a bunch of money,
Yes.
give it to Clint Hawking,
Yes.
let him make Far Cry 2.5.
Yes.
Okay.
That would. You know what? That's accurate.
Okay.
I would love to see. Okay, so. There's a couple things I really like about Far Cry 2, and I think if you've ever listened to a podcast before, I don't know a podcaster that doesn't love this game, so maybe everyone's tired of listening about it. But the thing I love the most is it's set in a world that does not give a single fuck about you. And that's what I love. Like, your guns rust, you have malaria, cars explode all the time, you might accidentally hit a zebra and feel terrible, fire is emergent, everything that could go wrong always goes wrong. I mean, hell, you get shot, you have to pull it out of your arm with a pair of pliers, and it's a really long animation, and it's awful, and you get shot while you're doing it.
This isn't a great sales pitch.
This is. This is.
So I tweeted at Clint,
Yes.
who's
Oh.
down the street from us. He's at Valve now.
Yeah.
And Clint was the creative director, sort of the vision behind Far Cry 2, or not sort of. It was the
yes.
vision.
Yeah.
And he tweeted back. He said that wouldn't work because I'm not really interested in working on sequels. Sad face.
Oh.
Then he said, we made the game we needed to make and don't have much more value to add to the themes of the game / brand. Besides, the best sequel you'd ever get would be to just play it again, but differently.
I've played that game many a time, and I feel like, look, I want emergent rhino attacks. That's really what I want to go after. Imagine driving down the Sahara, you're in the middle of stuff, and then all of a sudden a rhino hits your car and knocks you over.
Why don't we just make a game called Emergent Rhino Attacks? Because that's a great title.
Okay. I'm in.
Maybe the Space Engineers guys should call the game
That
Emergent
makes me
Rhino
think
Attacks.
of Off-Road Velociraptor Safari.
Which was a fantastic game.
Awesome game.
And it was exactly that. Velociraptor, Safari, off-road.
Clint broke my heart today. I'll be honest. I read those tweets and I don't know what to do with myself anymore.
Think of it from Clint's perspective. We spent, 4 or 5 years on that
That was
project?
a big project.
Think about the fact that he made the greatest game ever.
And he's saying is he's done.
He's saying peace out.
He did
Yeah.
what he
Go play it
he-
again.
yeah.
Go download some mods. I bet there is some Rhino
yeah.
assault mods.
There are some really good mods for that game, and it's still available. It
We
looks
should
beautiful.
stream Far Cry 2 in one of our Uber streams.
Do you want to do that?
Sure.
It'll just be me going, oh my god, it's so amazing! Every part of this game, everything in it. No, such a great video game. If you haven't played it yet, you got to stop what you're doing right now. It is.
Now I want a safari biome in Planetary Annihilation.
We should do that.
Grass-
Well,
Land.
we have
We have a desert.
desert, we have tropical.
We need grassland and little rhinos that run around and charge your commander.
And when you know what, screw Planet Smashing. Let's just make Molotov cocktails.
Rhino smashing
You know
is
what?
the new planet.
I will,
Smashing.
maybe I'll add a Rhino to Toy Rush at some point as an update.
Dude, that would be so good. And a Jeep. You know what? Okay, I'll be honest
We'll
with you.
name him Clint.
So the reason I have a Jeep is because of Far Cry 2. I'm not even shitting you.
Wow.
So they're
Wow, I had no idea.
they're officially branded cars in Far Cry 2. You get in a Jeep.
Brad, do you
period.
drive around and look down at your body in first person like
Yes.
in the game?
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, I can see my legs. It is, yeah. I mean, that game has had a profound impact on me in so many weird ways. And Euro Truck Simulator as well. Like, so when they pitched me a right-hand drive Jeep, I was just like, you know what? I played a lot of Euro Truck. I got this.
Your Jeep is right-hand drive?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
It's weird. It's really weird. I still love the looks people give me at a stoplight because they'll just be like a quadruple take.
Did you spend extra to get a right-hand drive Jeep?
No, actually, I spent significantly less because of it, because nobody wanted the damn thing. I was like, well, Far Cry 2, right-hand drive, this is perfect. What could possibly go wrong with this vehicle? And nothing has, thankfully, so everything's good to go.
That's a good place to end.
Is it? Well, Far Cry 2, Planetary, Toy Rush, Space Engineers,
Yeah.
Castles in the sky.
Castles in the Sky. We played a
Yeah.
lot of video games this week. You know, I tell you what, next week when we come back, we can talk about some news, some pressing issues and
Sure.
things like that. Or not pressing
some
issues. but
Kickstarters.
just- yeah, just in general. Get back to that format.
Maybe some reader bag.
Yes, if you have a reader mail for a reader bag, please mailbag@uberent.com. That's the email address. And again, mailbag@uberent.com. Please send those in. We'd love to read some of the stuff you got. We have one so far, which I feel good about. We'll read that next week for sure from my main man Tommy, who has listened to many of my podcasts. So I'm pleased to have him along for the ride. And by the way, if you like what you hear, please talk about it to your buddies and be like, hey, I found this new podcast, or hell, rate us 5 stars on the iTunes. Because you know what? Surprisingly, that helps. It is insanely helpful. All you have to do is just go on iTunes, click 5, and we'd appreciate it. Or you know what? Written reviews go a long way. And you don't even have to get serious about it and be like, I really like this podcast. My favorite cheese is brie. That's all you have to put. No one actually looks at those reviews. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. So just do that. That'll help us out quite a bit.
We like stars.
Yes. 5 stars always. So let's do our sign off real quick. What's your Twitter, Eka?
At Ekanaut, Ekanaut.
It's good. Forrest Smith.
At Forest the Woods with 2 R's.
Beautiful. All right. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Uber Unplugged.